So we have a minute still before our official beginning time, so we'll just give people another few seconds to, well, they can filter in as they wish, but we'll start officially when the clock says 7.
Can I mute everybody or individually to mute?
Just I'm afraid that if I mute everyone, then I won't be able to unmute you. So yeah, and we wouldn't want that.
No, definitely not. I'll continue talking anyway.
You can mute yourself now, though. Well, it is officially 7. So good evening, and thank you very much for joining us for tonight's Nature City conversation, which is sponsored by Wild About Saskatoon. My name is Candace Savage, and it's my privilege to serve as the host for tonight's event, assisted by co-host Ahmed Badawi, who you may already have met if you had any difficulty with this. In the past, as some of you will know, we've enjoyed technical support for our conversations from the Saskatchewan Festival of Words, but tonight we're flying solo for the first time. So we're using a standard Zoom meeting, which we're all so very familiar with, um, to support this gathering for the first time. Yeah, if you are not muted, please mute yourself so that um, you still have to listen to my ancient dog huffing in the background, but please mute yourself while we're listening to our speakers. We're in for a real treat tonight, an opportunity to hear from 3 people: Bohdana Kornelyuk, Muhammed Zain Al Abideen, also Robin the Golden Retriever, and Branimir Gjetvaj, who've come to Saskatoon from distant parts of the world and who've fallen in love with the natural beauty that surrounds us here. And more than that, these people have all gone on to become advocates for nature in their chosen home here in Saskatoon, also known as Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. So we acknowledge with gratitude that we live and work and share our stories on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional lands of the Nehiyaw, Nakaway, Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota people and other nations, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. Our format for tonight is pretty straightforward. We'll hear from each of our speakers in turn, followed by an opportunity for questions and comments from you. And we're going to use the chat box, which probably is at the bottom of your screen, the chat function, for questions. So at any point in these presentations, if there's something you want to say, please put it in the chat. If you need captions, you should be able to add those to your screen too. On my screen, it's on the bottom, in the bottom menus on the right. So our speakers will be telling us tonight a bit about their experience. So it wouldn't make sense for me. I certainly don't want to steal any of their thunder. So I'm going to offer you the briefest possible introductions, and I'll introduce them in the reverse speaking order. So Muhammed, who will speak to us last, came to Canada from Pakistan, and as you are about to discover, focuses his time and his considerable talents on 2 passions: photography and nature, especially birds. Branimir, who is a longtime and very valued member of Wild About Saskatoon, is originally from Croatia. He holds graduate degrees in genetics and sustainable environmental management, and in his professional life, he is helping to create sustainable, equitable, and just food systems on the Canadian prairies. And Bohdana, moved to Canada from Ukraine in 2018 and completed her Master of Arts degree in Religion and Culture at the University of Manitoba. She currently works for the Nature Conservancy of Canada, based right here in Saskatoon. And so, Bohdana, it's all yours.
Thank you, Candace. Good evening, everyone. And let me share my screen. I will just be displaying a few pictures of nature that I took while I will be talking.
I'm still not getting any sound. Oh, fuck.
Okay. So I will begin my presentation, or rather my talk, with a brief introduction of myself. My name is Bohdana, and I am a new Canadian. I immigrated to Canada from Ukraine 6.5 years ago. I arrived in Winnipeg in August of 2018 to pursue a master's program in religion and culture at the University of Manitoba. Eventually, I graduated, and after working for a couple of years with nonprofit organizations, I accepted a position with the Nature Conservancy of Canada, which brought me to Saskatoon, which is now my home. Another thing that I should mention about myself is that I am in love with nature. And this is what I will talk about today, my relationship with nature. To be honest, I don't know when my love for nature began. I believe I was born with it. I grew up in a rural area of Western Ukraine. I must say that even though the landscapes of Ukraine are very diverse, with mountains, forests, lakes, rivers, and the sea, I spent my childhood in the rich and vibrant grasslands that actually comprise the largest part of the country. Here is a picture of me at 10 years old wearing a red outfit and cross-country skiing with a friend through the grasslands, which were a community pasture just outside my hometown. My love for nature was greatly nurtured by my parents. I don't recall a summer when we didn't travel. I was fortunate to have seen and explored many regions of my country, from the mountains in the northwest to the sea in the southeast. I had to include a couple more pictures. This one is from a camping trip in the mountains featuring my mom, sister, and me peeking out of our tent. And this picture shows me having fun at the shore of the Black Sea. Ever since then, I have carried a love for exploring nature that continues to this day. In fact, this is what helped me here in Canada. I would like to shift the focus slightly to discuss the positive effects of nature on mental health. I believe everyone present today understands that nature has a beneficial impact on humans. A brief walk around a neighborhood or a park can improve our mood and make us feel happier, calmer, and more joyful. Some family physicians even prescribe time in nature as a means to cope with stress and anxiety. I will share how this approach has worked for me and how I learned to find my inner peace. As a new immigrant, I was thrilled to start a life here. I was 21 when I immigrated, full of big dreams, plans, ambitions, and the energy to fulfill them. I felt proud of my courage, bravery, and independence, and each day for me was filled with new emotions and excitement. But everything has the price. Along with the excitement of new beginnings came the realization that I had to let go of my old life. And it was painful. Knowing that my relationship with friends would never be the same, my best friends would eventually become someone I knew in the past, and my family would be so far away that I could no longer stop by to enjoy my mom's famous mint tea on the front porch while listening to the evening songs of the Nightingales. All of it had become mere memories, and accepting that was hard. But then there was something that helped me navigate those challenges, and it was nature. Nature became my therapist and my solution for overcoming difficulties in life. In fact, it has always been nature. I returned to what I loved most during my time at home, spending time outdoors. A simple walk through a neighborhood park, enjoying the fresh air and the lush green trees evoked happy memories from childhood. Reminding myself of those carefree times was my medicine for the added stress of an uncertain future. Reflecting on the time I spent exploring the outdoors in Ukraine restored my inner peace. Listening to the birds chirping, the leaves rustling, and feeling the wind on my skin, even in the cold, helped me ground myself, clear my mind, regulate my breathing, and calm racing thoughts. The time I spent appreciating the beauty of nature truly helped me move forward. And then I realized that I needed to create new memories. I had to continue doing what I loved most. And this is how I began exploring beautiful nature of Canada. During my years in Canada, I hiked and camped throughout Manitoba, Alberta, and British Columbia. Everywhere I went, I saw beauty that was both pure and powerful. Each trip and every hike added to my collection of memories. Now I know that I will never be able to stop exploring nature, regardless of where life takes me. Today, I can confidently say that Saskatchewan is my home. The first time I drove through Saskatchewan, I was amazed by the beauty of the grasslands. The rolling hills stretched as far as the eye could see, yet the landscape felt remarkably familiar. It looked like Ukraine, like the grasslands where I grew up. Indeed, Saskatchewan feels like home to me. An interesting fact is that once I became involved with the Nature Conservancy of Canada, I began learning more about various plant species thanks to my colleagues. I started to notice that I recognized many of them because of the same species or very similar ones grow in Ukraine, on the other side of the world. It was a fascinating discovery for me. It was in 2022 when I joined the NCC in Saskatoon, coinciding with the outbreak of full-scale war in Ukraine. Millions of my fellow Ukrainians lost their homes and were forced to flee. Canada opened its borders to thousands of Ukrainian refugees, and the community came together to provide support. I couldn't remain on the sidelines. It was heartbreaking to witness the suffering of my people, but I knew I could offer assistance, helping them connect with nature, feel welcomed, and see Saskatchewan as their new home. I can't say enough how lucky I was to have had the opportunity to contribute in this way as part of my role at the NCC with the support of my colleagues. In June 2023, we organized a hike for newly arrived Ukrainians at the NCC's Askveth property, aiming to help these newcomers connect with nature, learn more about their new home, and find peace. The Askveth property is located just 40 minutes from Saskatoon, near the town of Askveth. It features a 6-kilometer trail that winds through dense trees, shrubs, and vibrant grasslands. In collaboration with the Saskatoon Open Doors Society, an organization that provides social assistance to newcomers and refugees, we gathered 60 Ukrainians, ranging from a 4-month-old baby to a 67-year-old gentleman. Everyone was curious and asked many insightful questions, while the children were particularly enthusiastic about completing their scavenger hunt to identify various plants and birds. It was indeed a special event. Witnessing these newly arrived Ukrainians relax and enjoy nature made me realize how significant this hike was for them. I will never forget this event, particularly one moment. While the group was hiking, I tried to engage with everyone to get acquainted. One of the participants was an 8th grade student who had recently moved to Saskatoon with his grandmother, mother, and younger sister. His family had to flee because one of the Russian missiles had destroyed their home in north-central Ukraine. As we hiked out from under the canopy of trees and reached the grasslands, he suddenly stopped. His eyes widened with wonder, and he said, "Wow, it looks just like home." I will never forget the expression in his eyes. The memory of this moment still gives me goosebumps as I talk about it. The intentions for this hike were fulfilled. This boy will always miss the place where he was born, but now he is at least one step closer to finding peace in his new home here in Saskatchewan. By the end of the day, we received so many thank yous for the opportunity to explore nature outside of the city. My heart was filled with joy and pride. Nature, which has always been my greatest remedy for dealing with troubles in life, now serves those in need of peace. And today I am grateful to live in a country that values and cares for nature. Nature has once helped me navigate some of the biggest hardships of my life, and now I feel compelled to give back. I take pride in contributing to environmental efforts through my work with the NCC. Being part of a community of naturalists like yourself ensures that our natural spaces will be protected forever for future generations of Canadians and will help new immigrants in their pursuit of a better life here. And here comes the end of my presentation for today. I welcome any questions and thank you so much for having me here today and being able to share my story.
Bravo, Bohdana. I feel like cheering. Oh yes, I can see some clapping, some silent Zoom clapping. Ah, oh yes, and lots of love coming to you. We're so grateful so lucky to have heard from you tonight, and much luckier than that you're here with us. All right, Branimir, it's your turn.
Your
Can't
turn.
wait to
Okay.
hear about the news from Croatia.
Croatia, yes, that is right. So what I'll do, I'll start sharing the screen. I do not see if anybody is giving any comments or if there are any problems with transmission or PowerPoint presentation, let me know
We'll
because
let you
I
know.
will very much
Everything's
know.
looking good.
Okay, I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you just a little bit of introduction about the Croatia. And it's going to be very similar to what you saw with Bogdana in terms of structure. And then I will show you overview of some of the natural areas that I visited in Saskatchewan to try to enhance you and inspire you to maybe go and explore some of those places myself. I don't think I can exactly call myself newcomer to Canada because I have lived in Canada for I think 37 years. But I go home, I go to Croatia every year, so I do get the Canadianized. So I start from scratch when I come here. So here we go, newcomers love nature. Croatia is in central southern Europe. You see here on the map, and in terms of geography, it's quite rugged. The size, it's very small country. It is same size as Nova Scotia, with about 4 million people. So density is a little bit higher that we have here in Saskatchewan. North and northeast part is the plains, similar to Saskatchewan, and then you have a central mountainous region with mountains up to about 1,800 meters, and then we have a coast and Mediterranean climate. From Zagreb, where I was born, it takes about less than 2 hours of drive on the highway. It's very diverse in terms of climate and terrain. So Croatia there are a lot of protected areas. There are 8 national parks, 10 nature parks, and 2 strict nature reserves. And then also there's one large biosphere reserve, and that is Velebit Mountain with quite rugged and developed karst formations. And then here you see I was born long time ago. And similar day, you see me as a avid skier. I was probably 3 or 4 years old. Same what we heard before. My family and my parents had a huge impact influence on my desire to explore nature and love nature. My parents were avid hikers, and we hiked a lot in the mountains. They dragged me with them. And also every summer, we spent a lot of time along the coast. We would maybe rent a house, and we as a kids, you see me here in the middle row, the guy in the middle making fun and goofy, behaving as a goofy nerd. That is me. And in the bottom right, you see 2 families that we hang out very often. My family and my uncle's family we would go out. My dad and my uncle were fishermen. We would catch fish. We would have a grill, grill that fish, bring some vegetables, some bread, and then we as the kids would just run around and go crazy. This is a picture from Zagreb, one large park that is less than 5 minute walk from when I grew up. So basically, what I had to do is cross the street and then go in the park. There are a lot of lakes. I would go catch frogs and look at butterflies and birds. I was an avid birder before I became avid photographer. Very close, you can get with the public transfer to the base of the mountain, which is about 1,000 meter high, right north of my hometown. So very often we would do a day trip, hike up. It takes about an hour and a half through beautiful, beautiful deep forest. You go there, mountain huts, you have your lunch, and then you come down and in the afternoon do whatever you need to do. Lot of areas, what I like about Croatia, you do not need to go far to see different terrain. This area, mountainous areas, is about west of my hometown. Rugged terrain, dry, a bit of acidic soils, so they have a unique vegetation there. And you have to believe me here when I show you that the Zagreb is that this place where you see the cairn is 25 kilometers as the crow flies. So that will be the distance from here to Dundurn. Some of the terrain that you see, it's relatively rural, as I said, relatively densely populated, but there's still a lot of natural areas. It's not exactly wilderness that you think in terms of what is found in Canada, but a lot of wildness that you can explore and see a lot of different things. One advantage of heavy population, dense population, is there is always some kind of trail that you can follow and explore. And it is mostly because of the long term, like an old culture. When did Croatian come here? About 1,600 years ago. So there is a rule similar to some of the countries in Europe where you have a right to roam. As long as you don't destroy the property, you don't disturb the property owners, you are allowed to walk through public terrain if by any chance you find a spot that you need to take off the well-established trail. As I mentioned, food is a very important part of the culture. A lot of small companies, small restaurants, and that is really kind of special. What I want to show that you can go out in the nature. You can have a day trip. You find a nice restaurant. This is a fish pond, maybe about 40 kilometers from my hometown. When I found a little fish pond, the lady would catch the fish, and then half an hour later, you would have an absolutely fantastic lunch. And why I wanted to show you this, people talk about 1,000 mile diet. What you see here is 10 to 15 kilometer diet. Everything you see here is locally sourced. So that really improves the quality and flavor of the food. So we are going to the northeast and east part, continental, which is relatively flat. It is a breadbasket of Croatia, a lot of wheat being grown, corn, some of the vineyards, very good wines, and there are two large rivers, River Danube and River Drava, and in confluence that is quite large, largest inland delta, and very important zoological reserve with, what did they say about? Ooh, over 600 species of birds, I think. You can see there nesting or migrating. You see here elk, very similar to North American, sorry, a deer, very similar to North American elk. Wild boar, more and more prevalent, similar to wild boar that we have here in Canada, which were introduced from Europe, and they could be quite aggressive in terms of damaging the terrain. These guys were quite docile. We go through the central part of Croatia, a mountainous region, a lot of rain, a huge and very dense forest. And in that area, you can find a lot of wildlife, bears, which are similar to North American grizzly bears. There are wolves, lynx, bobcats, and a quite remote and rugged area. Fantastic for exploration. We also see that a lot of rain that you see produces dozens and dozens of rivers and streams, and a lot of areas, local RMs, equivalent to RMs, have protected areas there where you can walk in and have a short, maybe like an afternoon trip and explore the area. And then you can return the same day. This is one of the national parks, one of 8. It's called Plitvice Lakes. Consists of 70 lakes connected with waterfalls. Really spectacular in the spring, there's a lot of water, and then in the fall when you see fall colors, what we have here. Then we just go to Mediterranean, the coast. Very warm, never snowed, and the ocean cushions the temperature, so it's rarely warmer than, let's say, 35 degrees Celsius. Right now, the temperature along the coast, it's about 8 degrees Celsius, and definitely no snow. This is a coastal area that you can access by a car. And then if you want to explore hundreds of lakes, hundreds of islands, you have to take a boat, whether that is a regular ferry or people do a lot of sailing. Sailing tourism is quite developed. Another national park is Kornelyuk Islands, very rugged and absolutely fantastic for sailing and exploring with the boat. They're relatively dry and interesting terrain. Connection with Croatia, as I mentioned, I go every year to see my family, spend vacation there, and occasionally I bring a group from Canada to visit, photograph, and enjoy food. So that is my Canadian connection, kind of bringing people over to explore what they can see. I moved to Canada, as I said, 37 years ago. Studied in Halifax and Nova Scotia, was first province when I came and explore. Similar to different shape of the boat and the look, but it is a coastal area, so it was not too different from Croatia, but there are some different areas. For example, Bay of Fundy, which I could not find in Croatia. Definitely, maybe some parts of Normandy where we have this huge changes in tides. I lived 7 years in Nova Scotia, moved to Ontario, lived there a few years, and then 25 years ago, I moved to Saskatchewan. And I came here in December, and the first year, like first summer next year, I went down to Grasslands National Park because that is a unique area in Canada. The rest of Canada, Saskatchewan and Alberta, southern Alberta, they have prairies. You can't see them anywhere else in Canada. So first few years, I would go there every year, usually in the summer, because it is a little bit too cold and windy in the winter. So this is a Grasslands National Park. What attracted me was just a wide open space, especially at the beginning. There were not that many people visiting grasslands. When I started, there were about 4,000 people. Now they have over 22,000. So it does impact ability to see wildlife because wildlife sometimes they would be skittish and less chance to see them. But I would go to adjacent protected areas. Nature Conservancy have really beautiful property adjacent to the west block of Grasslands National Park. So I would go there. So one more picture, open grasslands, and also there's some areas that are very rugged and evidence of first settlements in the area. Indigenous people lived there for quite a few years there. Then we move further west, stop between Grasslands National Park and Cypress Hills that you see here is the old man on his back that we saw in the first presentation. I like to go there because it is well managed and you can see a lot of beautiful prairie landscapes and wildflowers. I would go, there's one period where I would go almost every month in the spring and the summer to photograph change in vegetation cover and wildflowers. So Cypress Hills are really interesting because it's the highest piece of land between central Canada and Rocky Mountains. You see here terrain, and they were called Cypress Hills because first settlers mistook lodgepole pine for cypress hills, so the name stuck. Really interesting forests, and they're called lodgepole pine because they're perfect. When you cut them down and use the lumber, you can build perfect cabins there. I like going there in the spring, June and July. Spring, yeah. Spring in Saskatchewan sense, early summer, profusion wildflowers, and also June, late June is good to see and explore. Look for orchids because there are quite a few species of orchids that you cannot find in surrounding area. Fall is another time. The best time to go is, I would say, a week before Thanksgiving, when all of the colors of the aspen trees, especially interspersed with dark green conifers, really spectacular is what we can see. One area that I really like going is near Leader, confluence of South Saskatchewan River and Red Deer River. And I think if we would have a protected area in Saskatchewan somewhere, it would be there. So what you see here is South Saskatchewan River. On the other side is Alberta. Great Sandhills, the second largest expanse of sand in Saskatchewan. The largest one is Athabasca Sand Dunes. The really interesting terrain. There are places where you can go and explore the sand dunes and play with the big sandbox. And there are areas where you cannot see anything else but the sand. It looks like you're in the middle of Saharan desert. Some interesting animals live there too, and I'm not sure that this is a footprint of kangaroo rat, but that is a rodent that hops around and especially adjusted to the harsh environment and harsh climate in the sand dunes. The soil is sandy, so it has not been converted to the agricultural production. So there are large ranches in the area. I have a few friends there who allow me to explore their land and photograph again a lot of really healthy native prairie. And I published two books about Saskatchewan. One is with a topic on Great Sandhills. Coming to Saskatoon, explore the area where probably a majority of the listeners today are. Mewassin Trail, it's a gem, really one of the rare areas. I travel a lot of places in Canada, and usually it's restricted access to the water because it's private property. But here we have Mewassin Trail that you can explore, look at some wildlife. Probably most attractive are pelicans by the weir. In the spring, a lot of crocuses, explore Nature Society leads field trips, but you can also go on your own anywhere. There will be profusion wildflowers. And in terms of photography, you really do not need any fancy cameras and lenses. Just to take a picture, you close, just use a cell phone. Some of the area in Saskatoon are very easily accessible. Northeast Whale. I like going there, and I also like going to Cranberry Flats. Very interesting, rugged, different terrain, different vegetation, and it's not difficult to access. It's just on the outskirts of Saskatoon. There are two nature conservancy properties. We heard about Asquith, really interesting, and this is Dundurn, which is more on the sandy soil. So you can see sand dunes that are covered by vegetation, but you see species that are more used to growing in drier and sandier soils. It's really interesting. So what I would recommend when I come to new area, I always look for the local natural history society because trick is you kind of join them, you learn when interesting places are, and then I would come on my own, and then I would spend as much time I want to do exploration and photography in the area. Really good way to learn about the places, new places where you live in. Going a little bit further north, Prince Albert National Park, the two national parks. I mentioned Grasslands National Park and Prince Albert, about 200 kilometers north of Saskatoon. We are going into boreal transition and boreal forest. This is a view of Waskesiu Lake. Sometimes I go in the winter, especially I look at weather forecasts when there's a fresh snow, and then it's beautiful for photography, exploring, walking around, a lot of hiking trails. But the most attractive for me is in the fall, and that would be when would be 21st to 27th of September. Usually it's a peak color to go there. Go around, explore, and do fall photography. National park, animals are protected. They're not scared of people, so that is a good place to find and view wildlife. One of the places I like to going is Gem Lakes. It's in Narrow Hills Provincial Park. It is in the boreal forest, and what is unique there, it's a set of lake, opal, Gem Lake. The color is absolutely fantastic, like a turquoise color in conifers. Sandy soil, really neat to explore. Going further north, Churchill River system, a mighty river system on the granite substrate, a lot of waterfalls. This is Nistoviak Falls near Stanley Mission. And as I said, granite substrate, Canadian Shield, looks completely different from southern Saskatchewan, where we have wide open prairies and more grassland, here boreal forest. And when you go further north, it's in the land of big sticks. This is Pasfield Lake, a little bit further north. You drive 900 kilometers, which is insane thinking about Croatia, and then you have to fly out to the fishing outpost. When we have time, if you guys are interested, for a lot of photography, we'll have a lot of photography today. I went to the World Wilderness Congress in Anchorage, Alaska, where the first meeting of the International League of Conservation Photographers, where I got inspiration to use my photography for conservation. So I gave a lot of interviews, articles, promoting conservation. A lot of conservation organizations use my photography. This is one article, I can't remember where it is. It's a picture taken at the Grasslands National Park 70 Butte, and the article talk about combining art and conservation. So that's what I do. I use photography as artistic expression, but also vehicle to promote conservation of nature. And my second book is about grasslands again with Trevor Harriott, and quite happy about it because it was really well designed, and the photographs turned quite well that I'm happy with. So that will be the end of my presentation. If you guys have questions, we can talk about them later.
Bravo. Thank you, Branimir. Thank you for showing us all this beauty so close to us. You made Saskatchewan look as enticing as Croatia, which is no small accomplishment at all. Yeah, lots of applause and love for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we have yet another treat, and that is hearing from Muhammed. It's all yours when you're ready, Muhammed.
Thank you. I will just look at. Are you able to see the
Yes,
screen?
and we can see. Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, my name is Muhammed Zain Abideen, and first of all, I thanks Wild about Saskatoon, Candice, and all the participants that they are here. And like I will not be talking like too much because I'm not used to, but the thing is I will be showing some of my photographs that I have taken. Most of the photographs I take usually in the Saskatoon area, and then with especially in the forestry farm and northeast Wales area. And with the passage of time, I'm expanding my area of reach where I'm going. So like I've been going out of Saskatoon, like to Beaver Creek Conservation Area, Pike Lake, Dundon, and to the National Park, Prince Albert National Park, and beyond. So it is like as my skills are growing, the area that I'm covering is growing with the passage of time. Okay, so I will start with my first like Canada Goose. Like this is the time when in the springtime I have taken this picture in Saskatoon, where you can see the dandelion. So I love to photograph like an animal or a bird or anything with the background, the yellow background, and this is this is the best best time, best background that I can have with my photographs. And then this one is called Sora. So this is very hard to catch. They are usually in the marsh area and very shy bird. And you can see the feet. So they just they kind of like fly on the water. This photo was taken at Miller Swale, I think. And I was on the road and it just was crossing the road. I was lucky enough to capture that one at the very moment. And that I was lucky at that time to get that one. Okay, so now these are two different warblers that usually pass through here during the springtime and the fall time. So, and you can see the one on the left one is orange crown warbler. And on the right one, a very beautiful one, and one of my favorite one is chestnut-sided warbler. And both photographs were taken in the Meewasin area near the river, South Saskatchewan River. And other thing, I just want to add one thing to it that for a bird photographer, you have to edit most of your pictures because the setting is not very desirable. Sometimes low light is there, sometimes the movement of the birds. So you have to watch for everything in there. And yeah. And this one is I think tiger swallow, but this is a boreal one. I took this picture in the Prince Albert National Park, and look at those colors, the beautiful colors. And so there were like 5 or 10 of those ones just attached to each other. I don't know whether they were feeding something or thing, but I got the opportunity to capture that beautiful picture in the Prince Albert National Park. And yeah, that was one. Another one. This is Merlin. Yeah, I took that one in the northeast Wales, and I was driving by and I just saw this one and not flying away. So I took the opportunity to take that one. A very beautiful, sharp picture of this beautiful bird in the northeast Wales. And like these are 2 other pictures. That the right one is bobolink. Like I took these pictures 2024 last year, and then I took another picture like 6 or 7 years ago in the Chapel Marsh. And so I have a chance to to capture this again in around 6 years or 7 years around there. And this is a male bobolink on the right side. And on the left side, you can see is a juvenile cedar waxwing enjoying the mountain ash berries. I think these berries that you can see there. And okay, so this will make you laugh, I think, because it looks like it's laughing. This I took at the Veer, the white American pelican, maybe yawning or something, but looks like a laugh. So, and Veer is a place, if you want to capture or want to see white American pelicans, that's the best place to see and to capture a photograph. And usually they are at the start of the May till the end of September. Then they fly back to the south. So this was, I think, in the very early of the year. And then this is sharp-tailed grouse. I like this picture very much because the setting is so excellent. It was taken in the northeast swale. The light was low, but still I managed to capture it. And it like perfect setting on the branch, and beautiful image. This one okay, another one. So these are two different. So on the right side, I think I also took this one in Dundon. The right side, it is a female bobolink. So it's a very beautiful bird also. And on the left is Bohemian waxwings, one of my favorite bird to photograph. And it just took in the nick of time. And yeah, you can see that one too. And there's another one. So I like, this is also taken in the Prince Albert National Park. And these are golden eye ducklings. So I took a lot of pictures of them and enjoy them like dropping into the water, and very fun to watch. So, and usually we have golden eyes in the South Saskatchewan River too, but we don't have a chance to see the ducklings. So I think the Prince Albert National Park was the best place to watch them and to take pictures of the beautiful, cute birds there. And then on the left side, that I took that one in northeast swale. I think this year, yeah, sorry, in maybe in December 2024. And the right picture is also taken in the northeast swale. And I like the thing about the right side picture is the color and the sharpness. Excellent time and excellent, like I got it at the very good time. So, and this one is called yellow-headed blackbird. Also a migrating bird from the south. And another one is called blackwing blackbird, something. And this one, you can see, like, I always want to take the picture in flight. And luckily I got it. And then it's called yellow-headed blackbird. Also, it was taken in the swale area. And I took it, I think, 2024. And this is one of the best pictures that for myself I took. I take what colors and everything. If you look at the Bohemian waxwing, because they are fun to watch when they are eating the berries, having a feast on them, and also the colors, and they are not very shy, and they are always visiting in winter time. I'm still waiting for them this year. Haven't got any yet, but this was taken last year, and I think you will really admire the colors of this beautiful bird. These are the tree swallows taken in northeast swale, and I think they are trying to communicate with each other. I don't know what they're saying, but at least maybe hungry or something like that. So I cannot comment on that. And this is another picture taken at the Miller Swale. So you can see it's northern shovelers, male and female. So and look at, I like the light, the evening, the sunset light, also the droplets in there, and they are very, very active in the very start of the season. And let me see. And these are the sandhill cranes. I took those one off the Valley Road, just outside of Saskatoon. And you can see a family of 4, where 2 adults and 2 juvenile in there, and very attentive. But I got it from my vehicle, and I think it was on the Valley Road. Yeah, that's what I think. Presume that. This is another one. I like the fall colors in the background, leaves, and then if you have dark-eyed junco there, this will certainly make a picture more beautiful. It brings all the colors, and yeah, it's fun to take photographs of these birds in that particular settings. And this is also a very shy bird, hard to find. Brown creeper is the name. And this photo was taken in the forestry farm. And yeah, it's also like I was trying to find this year, but I couldn't find them this year. Probably later in March or April, when it's less colder, I would be able to photograph more of them in the coming few months. And this is another beautiful bird. It's golden crowned kinglet, taken in the forestry farm. And I think the season is the fall season, so you can see the colors. The background is coming up so beautifully, and also okay, another warblers. So I'm getting a very much fond of those warblers. There's so many warblers coming and passing through Saskatoon. I didn't know that one, and then when I know that what time is a better one to find them, like in April, and what another time like in August till end of September when they're going back, and the timing and where you can find them. So these are the two important things. So I was working for the last 2 years. So this is a black pole warbler, a male one, and okay, another warbler. This is yellow warbler, one of my favorite one too. A lot of them we can find around the trail, Newasan Trail. And all of this photo was taken in the forestry farm. Purple finch, another of the finch family. Usually we see house finches there, but this is purple finch, a little different in colors, in size, and fun to watch them. And I think this is a flycatcher, and I like the colors, the green mixing with the other green on the background. And yeah, this is some of my pictures that I was going to present. And I don't know what time it is, but it's the end of it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for taking your time, and a very nice evening to everyone.
Honestly, I think, Muhammed, that I could look at your pictures forever. They give us all so much pleasure.
Thank you.
Those who don't know, Muhammed has set up a Facebook page called Northeast Whale Nature, where you can see photos by him and other people celebrating and advocating for that area in our city. And you also have a bird photography page, don't you? So absolutely have a look to see more of the work. I'm pleased to say that in addition to thanks for your fabulous and inspiring presentations, we do have a question, and I think it is directed mostly at Bohdana, but we would love to hear from the others of you as well. It comes from Cindy Sherban, who is wondering about making connections between newcomers and nature and wondering about initiatives that are ongoing. Are any events promoted as improving mental health and well-being, and just in general, what kinds of connections are being made? So, Bohdana, do you want to take it away?
Yes, absolutely. So in regards to the initiatives for the newcomers and events for the newcomers, I would say that the Saskatoon Open Door Society is still like a central place for organizing these. They specifically specialize in helping the newcomers. So if you're interested to direct the newcomers, I would start with the Saskatoon Open Door Society. And I should also mention that the events that we organize at the NCC, the community engagement events, they would also be open to anybody who would want to participate. I hope that answers the question.
And that would also be true of all the kinds of programming at Meewasin, at Beaver Creek and elsewhere, right? That those things would be open to anyone. And we have two people who've been away and are coming home. Maureen and Talia have been away for decades. And so you've just had a travel log. And I don't know. I mean, I've been living here. I'm a newcomer too, refugee from Alberta. I've only been here for 30 years, but my heart is full with all the beauty that you have shown to us tonight. I do have one other question. Well, I've been noticing that there are some themes in what you had said. You've all touched, or several of you have touched on the importance of parents, and I'd like to that, in deference to my gray hair, I'd like to add grandparents in helping people, a new generation, make the connection with nature. You've hinted at the importance, or you've shown us really, the importance of access to nearby nature for urban people. You've shown us the importance of protected areas. And Branimir, in your presentation, you touched on the difference between wilderness and wildness and how it is possible and important to have urbanization, densification, dense populations, but also to be conserving nature and to have biodiversity and all this beauty around us. And certainly you've shown us, each one of us, how much extraordinary beauty there is in a few hundred miles, or in the case of Muhammed, in the case of a few in the space of a few city blocks, really. So I have one question for you as we close here, and that is, Bohdana, you described Canada as a country that values and cares for nature, but some of us we are dismayed by the evidence we see around us of how we're failing in that care. And I'm wondering if you could each offer us a brief thought about what your experience suggests we could be doing better. Do you want to go ahead, Bohdana?
I'm still collecting my thoughts. But I think if we focus on just noticing the beauty around us that we got so much used to, that would certainly help us take care of that beauty better. I think that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, Branimir, where did you?
Yeah, I can't stop talking. I'm sorry. What I want to say, we do need to conserve nature. So you have a whole bunch of nonprofit organizations that are focused to it. Bohdana is working with one of them, but also we have a few nonprofit organizations that have a focus of taking people out in the nature. And I think that is very important because if you really see what is out there, you really have connection with the nature and you're really more interested to protect what we have. So both approaches are important. Protecting, but also experiencing so you appreciate it more.
Makes sense. Is there
That
anything
is
you'd
it.
like to add, Muhammad?
Yeah, just want to say that awareness is a very important thing that we have to promote awareness of the nature around us and the protected areas that are very close to our city. Thanks.
Well, with that, I would like to thank you all again for coming. It's been just as a wonderful an hour as I thought it might be. I want to, on behalf of everyone who's here, thank our three fabulous presenters, Branimir Gjetvaj, Muhammed, Zain Abideen, and Bohdana Kornelyuk. You filled my heart with joy. I'm just so grateful to you. I also want to let you know that there will be another in our short winter series of Nature City Conversations on February 26th. It will feature Dr. Christy Morrissey, who will be talking on the theme Pesticides and Prairie Wetlands, a battle for the burden of proof, about very important work to protect insects and birds from neonicotinoid pesticides that's not going as well as we might like it to. And then on March 19th, again with a fabulous array of speakers, a presentation on Indigenous relationships with plants that will amplify and enrich the work that we're all doing to bring native plants and native pollinators back into our spaces in the city. And with that, I think that's a wrap for tonight. So thank you again very much, everyone, for being here. And especially again, thank you to our wonderful presenters for all that beauty.
Thank you very much.
I see lots of clapping.
So if you stop the recording, if you have a time, if people